the CEO of Netflix, okay, this is rated the #1 culture company in the world, ahead of Google, ahead of Apple, okay? On all the online ratings, Netflix consistently rates #1 in culture, okay? And even Eric Schmidt, the former CEO of Google, says this, okay? So even competitors, quote unquote, of talent say that Netflix is the best when it comes to culture. Now, I want to give you guys a quick kind of run of events here. While BlockBuster was doing billions of dollars a year in revenue, okay? Let's say they were doing $10 billion a year in revenue, BlockBuster was. Okay, how many of you remembers BlockBuster? Anyone? Okay. They were doing almost $10 billion in revenue. I think it was around 6 billion with a B, billion. Okay. So they were doing a lot of money in revenue. Netflix comes out of the woodwork and they start with this little bold assumption that people don't want to drive the video stores anymore because of the advent of the DVD. Okay. So the first version of Netflix was actually shipping DVDs via the mail. Okay, so they had an online database. They played middleman, and people requested TV shows or movies. They then shipped out DVDs. Now, before that, they shipped hard VHS, like actual tapes, which I don't even know what they are, quite frankly, but you guys probably do, because you know I'm a techie guy, so I don't even know what they are, but they were shipping those out, and it was too expensive. And then they invented the CD, and then they started shipping out the CD. Okay. Now that was phase 1 of Netflix. Okay. Now, BlockBuster, they chuckled. They said, ha, 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 all right, these new guys on the block, blah, 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 whatever. They're going to phase out. They don't have the capital. And hey, even if it does work, we'll be able to outspend them and outcompete them. Okay. The second reinvention of Netflix, okay, was streaming TV shows and movies. This was the needle mover that put BlockBuster out of business, by the way. When they created the business model, okay, when they created the business model of streaming TV shows and movies, I hope you guys don't miss this shift here. This is what created an entire industry. Do I have everyone's attention? Okay. One shift. Instead of them saying, pounding their chest and saying, we're a DVD shipping company, that's us. Okay. I've met so many lawyers that just say, oh, I'm a bankruptcy lawyer. That's me. I'm this vertical. That's me. Why? Why is that you? Right? So Netflix went, okay, we're shipping DVDs. Who the heck cares that we're shipping DVDs? There's this new streaming thing. Let's start streaming the things that we were shipping. Now people don't even have to wait for the mail. They can just sit on their sofa and consume the same output. Does everyone follow this, right? They can get exactly what they wanted by just sitting on their sofa. So all they do is make it easier for people to consume the same thing that they were getting through the mail. As if that wasn't enough. Now, meanwhile, Netflix is gobbling away BlockBuster's market share. They actually met right when streaming was introduced. Netflix CEO Reed Hastings met with the CEO of BlockBuster. They were doing $50 million a year in revenue. BlockBuster's still doing $6 billion a year. And the CEO of BlockBuster, Reed Hastings said, hey, do you want to buy Netflix? Let's talk about it. And the CEO of BlockBuster said, nah, we've got our niche. We're going to stay in our niche. People like coming to our stores, blah, 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 blah. And Netflix guy said, okay, whatever, no biggie. We'll just keep doing what the consumer is telling us they actually want. I have goosebumps right now. Like my entire arm is flooded with goosebumps. And I hope you guys can see the importance of this. Reinvention is the highest value task. Netflix had the courage to say, we want to go now into the streaming business. Now, the third phase, my entire arm right now, guys, is flooded with goosebumps. Because this is the power of you being the CEO of your life, of your practice. You can change things. You're not trapped. You can go into anything you want. You just got to decide. Right? Now, as if that wasn't enough for Netflix, they said, you know, I really wish we had our own in-house movie studios. I wish we had our own directors, our own editing team, our own videography team. So did they just chit chat about it, or did they actually go and build their own movie studio? What do you think they did? Press the space bar and tell me.
They built their own studio.
Built their own studio.
Built their own studio.
You're damn right they did. They built their own damn movie studio. Now, I'm sharing this story, everyone, because the business model you're in, it's you're not married to it. Okay. Now, BlockBuster went bankrupt. Completely bankrupt. Okay. So claiming your niche, which everyone tells you to do, okay, it doesn't work in a technology era where everything's changing rapidly. I believe people will buy legal services that are under $10,000 in average transaction value through the internet fully. I also believe that those of you who have not looked into the metaverse, you're comfortable. You're not looking like, do you even know about Facebook's metaverse? This is an entire like ecosystem online that is going to be the next place where people transact. Like, this is your survival. This isn't a joke. You must look around corners. You must be thinking, how is my business model going to change in 5 years? Because most lawyers, they get in the business, they never sell their practice, and they work until they die. It just is what it is. You want to be that kind of lawyer? Okay. I think you should actually build something that you can step away from that has a unique business model tied to it. Okay, so now what are those business models? Okay, do we need to create an e-commerce platform on your website where people can sign up with you without talking to anyone? Do we need to create educational videos on different pages of your website so that people can make purchase decisions without you talking to them on the phone? Like, this is why you got to get out of the day-to-day, because you're never going to be able to think of this stuff if you're on client calls all day. Can I get a raise of hands that everyone follows this? You can't be inventive when you're wrapped up in day-to-day tasks. You just can't. You can't be creative. You got to get used to that feeling of, what am I going to do today? You have to get used to the feeling of, what am I going to do today? Not that I have this guiltily accepted to-do list item list that I agreed to from past decisions made. Now, how did Netflix do it? What culture did Netflix build that allowed them to be so inventive? Let me back up. What makes a company like Netflix beat a company like BlockBuster? If you could say it in one word, what would you say it is? Go ahead. Someone unmute. What one word made Netflix Netflix and BlockBuster BlockBuster?
Innovation.
Innovation.
Keep going.
Listening.
You said listening?
Adaptability.
Listening.
Yep.
Courage.
Okay.
Adaptation.
Yep.
Pivoting.
Yep.
Open-minded.
Yep. Okay, we'll stop there. All right. Here's what you guys just said. Innovation, listening, adaptability, courage, pivoting, okay, open-mindedness. How do intangible traits infect a company? Everything you just said were intangibles. You can't touch adaptability or touch listening or touch. How do intangibles infect or spread through a company?
Through the leadership.
Okay, keep going.
Culture.
Ding, ding,
Inspiration.
ding. What was it?
Culture.
What was the last one? Inspiration.
Yes.
Okay. So culture, leadership, inspiration. The answer is all the above. It's leadership, but more importantly, culture, right? So Netflix built a culture that made innovation. They didn't have to, it wasn't effort to innovate. They hire innovative people. They have an innovative culture. It wasn't a conscious effort to innovate at Netflix. It was subconscious because that's their culture. That's who they hire. That's who they reward. That's who they praise. They praise innovators. They hire innovators. They are innovators. That's their identity.